Sometimes our physical friends behave as if they do not think that they are worthy enough or smart enough to get to choose the direction of your own life experience. And we say, what could be better than you to get to give birth to your preferences? We did not say you rule the world. We don't even want you dabbling in someone else's pie. But you certainly have the ability to choose your own preferences. And when you do, Source always agrees. That's why you are here on the leading edge of thought. Think about it. Every consciousness, which means every cell in your body, even the one-celled amoeba in the ocean, every point of consciousness is having exposure to experience in which personal preferences are being born. And when some consciousness, whether it is the genius human that is you or a cell in your body, when that consciousness is having exposure to experience and is personally discerning that this would be slightly better than this, Source always agrees. Do you understand that this is what is the evolution of all that we are? That's why you're on the leading edge of thought. You're out here in the nitty-gritty of this time-space reality, having exposure to experiences that let the genius of your particular focus give birth to a new preference that Source then follows. So, when you ask, it is always given. When that desire or preference, whatever you want to call it, is born within you, you send a vibrational rocket which Source becomes one with immediately. That is an important thing to understand as you begin to pay attention to your guidance system, which is going to show you the vibrational relativity between one point and another. Now hear this, you're really going to like this. So here you are moving through the contrast of your life experience. And we don't mean horrible things and wonderful things. We mean variety of things, some of them wanted and some of them not wanted, but contrast of your time and place. So out of that contrast is born a rocket of desire, and another, and another, and another, and another. And all of these preferences are shooting into your future experience, into your vibrational escrow, we like to call it. They're being held for you, waiting for you to get vibrationally up to speed with them. You see how it works? So your future experience is full of all kinds of things that you have launched. Now this is the part that we really want you to hear. Your vibrational future, your future experience, what's being held for you in vibrational escrow, is all the things that you've been thinking about. The things you want, the things you don't want. In other words, the thoughts that you've been projecting are all about that. And the way you feel is your indication of what you're moving towards. So if you are feeling grouchy every day, ornery every day, unhappy every day, you're moving closer and closer toward a manifestation of something that when it manifests, you're not going to like it. And most of you are going to say, whoa, where did that come from? And we want you to understand that nothing comes out of nowhere. Everything comes out of something that you've been offering vibrationally. And so when we say to you that 99.9999% of every creation is complete before you see any physical evidence, aren't you really glad that your thoughts don't manifest instantly? Isn't it nice that you have all of this buffer and all of this leeway where you can pay attention to the way you feel so that you can move toward the things that you want and away from the things that you don't want? Isn't it nice to know that that thought of ornery is leading you toward more trouble in your life? That thought of overwhelmment, that thought of not being respected, that thought of you're not being treated well, those thoughts are thoughts that are causing vibrational activation within you that's going to cause a manifestation that when it gets there, you're not going to like it. Your lover doesn't leave you overnight. Your lover leaves you over a long period of time as your relationship disintegrates by one ugly remark after another, whether you're saying it out loud or whether you're just playing it over in your mind. In other words, you cannot continue to beat the drum of things that don't feel good when you beat them without filling your future experience full of them. And at some point, there is going to be a tipping point that's going to be a manifestation. What we want you to do is to begin to be aware that negative emotion means you're moving towards stuff you don't want. And positive emotion means you're moving towards stuff that you do want. And you just can't get around it. That's just the way that it is. The better you feel, the brighter your future is, and the better you feel today. The worse you feel, the more unpleasant your future is, and the worse you feel today, you see? So, We think we've made our point. Nothing is more important than that I feel good. We want you to say that. Nothing is more important than that I feel good. And while I can't feel joyful about working someplace that I don't want to work, with people that aren't very nice to me, making less money than I really deserve, it's hard to feel joyful about that, but I could feel more hopeful than I do, and I could stop beating the drum of complaint. I could stop going to those meetings where people are making the worst of things instead of the best of things. I could stop joining those groups of activation and watching those television programs that just stir me up and make me so mad I could spit nails. In other words, I can do something about the way I feel. We want you all to come to the place where it matters to you more about how you feel than all of other things put together, because how you feel is everything. How you feel is your management of your vibrational relationship between you and you. And in every moment you're thriving or not. In every moment you're moving toward or away from things you want, toward or away from things you do not want. It's time for the deliberate creator in you to come forth and say, I create my own reality, and I am going to create my reality in a way that pleases me, which means I'm letting everybody else off the hook. Someone can be treating you badly, and you can be absolutely justified in the negative emotion that you feel, but you are still shooting yourself in the foot. And if you're waiting around for that person to treat you better, like you used to, before you feel better, you're putting creative control someplace where it doesn't belong. You're putting creative control someplace where there is no creative control. You hold all the creative control. If you let your happiness depend upon how somebody else feels about you, now you've got to control how somebody else feels about you, which means now you're standing on your head in all kinds of different ways to please that someone or those someones, which means now you've lost sight of your own guidance system. You see how it works? We know it's easy to seek approval, because when you find approval from someone, it feels good. When someone holds you as their object of attention and they love you, oh, it feels so good. They're tuned in, tapped in, turned on to source energy, and they're flooding it all over you. You want that. But that's not your source of connection. You have your own source of connection. We see some of you, you've trained your son. You get him to do just what you need him to do so that you can feel good. And then he goes off and finds some girl that he's in love with, and then he does what she wants instead. And if your happiness depended on him, you're in deep doo-doo. If your happiness depends on anybody else, you have no control. But when your happiness depends only upon your ability to find a thought that resonates with the thought that your source thinks. Oh, did you hear that? In other words, your source loves you. Your source loves others. And when you find thoughts that aren't about love, you deviate from the vibration of your source, even when you're justified. You can look at someone doing something. Many of you are unhappy with the behavior of your president. You can condemn his behavior, and in condemning his behavior, even though you may be justified, you shoot yourself in the foot, because you deprive yourself of connection with your source, because your source will not condemn your president. Your source will not condemn the enemy of your president. And when you do, when you condemn either of them, no matter which side of the battle you join, when you condemn, you put yourself vibrationally out of sync with who you really are, you see. So it's going to take some practice, we know. You're going to have to let loose of a whole lot of beliefs that are not serving you. And little by little, you will find vibrational alignment with those that do serve you. And the beliefs that serve you go like this. You are creator, you are source, you are here in physical bodies, and all is well with you. And you are the creator of your own reality, and you are not in jeopardy. And you do not need to control the behavior of others in order for you to thrive. And your attention to things that you think they do that keeps you from your thriving is in fact what keeps you from your thriving. It is not what they do to you, it's what you do to you in fear of what you think that they will do to you. No one can do anything to you that you are not a vibrational match to. And as you push against the things that you think that they're going to do to you, you become a vibrational match to things that are not thriving. And so as you are a vibrational match to things that are not thriving, then you blame them for doing those things to you, but no one has ever been able to do anything to you. Even the one that held the gun that shot you in the head did not do it to you. You did it to you because you brought the one that brought the gun that shot you in the head to you by your attention to those that bring guns and shoot people in the head. In other words, nothing can come to you that you are not a vibrational match to. There are no victims. There is only vibrational alignment with thought. And whatever thought you're activating is the thought that becomes your point of attraction. And whatever thought becomes your point of attraction is what happens to you. It is law. It's just the way that it is. And you never hold a thought that is detrimental to you and feel good while you hold it. And you never hold a thought that is beneficial to you and feel bad while you hold it. In other words, the way you feel is everything. Good time for a segment of refreshment. We've told you everything we know. We're done. You are the creator of your own experience. You get that? And you are the creator of the way you feel because you are the projector of your thoughts. And you get to choose the way you feel. And when you decide, and we want you to today, that you are going to do whatever you can do to find the best feeling thought that you have access to right now, you will always be moving in the direction of your desire. And today, the disease will stop expanding. Today, the money that has not been coming begins moving toward you. Today, those that are important to you will begin to treat you better. Today, traffic will begin to part for you. Today, you will begin to move into alignment with the things that you're wanting right now, right here, today. The evidence will show itself to you today. Don't start on those things that are hardest. Start on easier things. And as you start on easier things, your feeling of pessimism will move to hopefulness, and your feeling of hopefulness will move to belief. And soon your feeling of belief will move into knowing, because you will know that you are the creator of your own reality. You will come to the place within 30 days, if you want to, of knowing, believing that there is nothing that you cannot be or do or have. And then you can get down with the business that you came here to get to, which was, what is it of all of this myriad of possibilities that I choose for me from where I am? And you can only choose from where you are, you know. You can't choose from someplace else. You do not have the vibrational relativity to choose from somewhere else. So leave everybody else out of the equation and care infinitely about your improvement from where you are. And you will look at the masters on your planet in all disciplines, and you will discover that you are less than a year away from the achievement of what the greatest of them have achieved once you get pointed in the direction of your desire. From what we can feel from you, it will take you about 30 days to get in sync with the idea that you want to feel good. And then about another 30 days of practicing feeling good on several subjects. And then by the end of the third 30 days, you will be a master of your own vibrational countenance. And then people around you will be amazed at the things that will begin flowing into your experience. People who have known you for a while will come to you and say, what in the world has happened to you? You seem happy all the time. And it seems that I just heard you barely say you wanted that, and then the door opened and a way for you to get it came. What's going on with you? And you will say to them, I followed my bliss, and I stopped off in rage and revenge for a day or two. It was fun. I really liked it. And then I sniffed out anger and left revenge behind. And then I sniffed out frustration, and I stayed there for several days because I'd practiced that quite a bit, and it was an easy place for me to be. And then I tugged a little bit from frustration, and then I bounded into hopefulness. And then once I reached to hopefulness, avalanches of things began happening. It was like stuff was piled up outside my door for years. It began to come in. And then from hopefulness, it was really easy for me to get into a place of optimistic belief. And once I reached belief, then it was like I returned to the feeling I was born with. Suddenly I began feeling eager again and optimistic about things. And then I began to think about who I am and what I really want in life. I began to dream bigger. I began to resurrect things that I remembered wanting when I was a teenager. I began to make lists of things that I began wanting. I began to breathe deeper and feel more expansively. And then, I gotta tell you, truly incredible things began happening to me. From what seemed like out of nowhere, amazing things happened that 90 days ago, I couldn't even imagine. And today, they feel like the next logical step. And that's the most important thing, friends. As you start moving up the emotional scale, only the thing that feels like the next logical step can come. If it feels too amazing, too good to be true, it is. It can't happen for you. But when it starts feeling normal, and how do you start making amazing things feel normal? You'll work your way up to them. You start practicing the feeling of the amazing things until you just begin expecting amazing things to happen.